Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I know we're live when I see my phone light up and it says on LinkedIn that Francois is live. It's good if you get a notification yourself that you are live and also alive. I think that's a fantastic thing to be. So good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Really nice to have you with us. Really a busy week that has passed and also an exciting week that's taking place this week with a whole host of things happening. Good morning and welcome to you. Thank you very much for joining us. And really happy to have Johan Vosloo back on the show. I met Johan back in November, I think, last year. And I always thought about Johan as this German guy. I don't know why, because I just heard that, back in the day when I met with Marta, that Johan was living in, or their CEO is based in Germany. And I thought like, whoa, this is a bit like, And then when I met Johan, he was a guy like from the Free State like me. And I don't know, we just connected. And he also makes me think of a good friend that I had way back. So I don't know, we just hit it off and we built a good relationship since then. So really happy to have you on the show this morning and to talk about, well, not revenue management so much today. We did that in a previous episode where he and Marta was on. But also we're going to get into Commspace itself. I want to talk to him about the origin story. It's such an interesting story. I love hearing it. I know he loves telling it. So I'm really excited to get into more of that. But before I do, just a quick good morning to each and every single one of you. Thank you very much for joining us. I've seen quite a few of you in the summit yesterday, the Financial Planning Summit, which continues today. And really good to see you back here this morning just before we get started at 9 over on the summit. Good morning, Kobus from a sunny Durban. Nice. I didn't really look at what it looked like here. I was so in a rush to get into the studio, but I think it's a little bit overcast. I must go check. Malcolm, good morning. Nice to have you. Tinus, baie welkom. Welcome terug. Denise, good morning. Morning, Louis. I know Louis is an avid user of Commspace, if I remember correctly. I think I saw your face on their website as well, Louis. Nice to have you with us. Always good to interact with you as well. Terence, good morning. He says, good morning, Johan and friends. Good morning. We've got Johan van Wyk, goeiemorgen. He says, trust you are all well and safe. Look forward in meeting you all one day in person. Absolutely. And we've got plans for that, by the way, which I can't announce quite yet. But there are some interesting things in the works. Kobus, time to start your show and to stop interacting on the Financial Planning Summit show and chasing me. We'll be chasing one another, Kobus. There's 2 days left. You may be smaller than me, but I can move, brother. I can move. So Conrad Becker, good morning. Salome. We've got, so a whole host of people in the show. We've got Mark from Australia. Good morning, Mark. Or good evening to you, I guess. And we've got Louis Jooste, goeiemorgen. Gadziandi, good morning. Stefanie, is it? Jy is mos ook van Commspace, as ek het reg het. Brendan, nice to see you here. Awesome. Adrian, Jordan. Peter, good morning, Peter. Miriam, we've got Dirk Groeneveld in the house. Good morning. And Shane Brown. So thank you very much. We've got people all over on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Really nice to have you with us. I'm not going to be long because I want to get into the story and also then share with you some of the amazing stuff that Commspace is doing and also show you what it actually looks like and what it can do for you and your business, which is quite important. And that's one of the things that this show is about, is to bring you, solutions, or at least make you aware of solutions that could benefit you and your practice. It's still up to you to make, to sort of do your due diligence and make sure that it's a good fit. So that will always be the case. But at least if we can showcase things to you and make you aware of things, then that is amazing. Then at least you know that there are solutions and that you can come to us for trusted sort of insights into that, and that you make the right decision at the end. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. We're on 684 this morning when I looked. We're chasing that 700. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I see 40% of viewers have not subscribed. Kindly subscribe. I really appreciate it. And also you can connect with the show and stay up to date by connecting to the portal. You can just simply go to francoisdutoit.co.za/portal. Everything about this show you'll find there. You can save it to your home screen. It's powered by Profile Me. So you'll see it's an amazing experience on your phone. You always have access to the latest episode, previous episode, featured episodes, and a whole lot more. So you're welcome to go and do that. All right. Good stuff. Then one last announcement before I bring Johan in. It's just quickly that if you want to, we've been doing this show now for, when was it? Since the 20th of March. We're on episode 111. We're not stopping. In fact, I've got big plans for the show. There's more things happening. And what I thought was doing, like, you know what, this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, coordinating things, making sure we've got the right equipment to be able to do all of this. It really takes a lot, which I enjoy, and something that I will do for free forever. So the show will never change from a free model to a paid model or anything like that. But if anyone does feel that they would want to support me in taking the show to the next level, you can do so now. I've created the Patreon page, so there's it's not necessary to do it. It's not that this is moving from now you have to pay to watch. The show will stay free forever. It will stay on YouTube. It will stay on LinkedIn, and in fact, it may expand to other social media platforms as well. But if you feel like you want to support me in this, you're more than welcome to do that. You can cancel it at any time. It's a monthly amount. It starts off at around 50 Rand and 100 and 200. You can choose. It's in dollars, unfortunately, but it's $3, $6, and $12. You choose. There's some benefits on some of the tiers, but you can just have a look at that. And please, there's no, this is just if you want to. This is not like, I don't expect anything. But, if any of you feel that you want to support me, that'll be fantastic, because it will help us put more effort and be able to spend more time on the show. Alrighty, then lastly, this is a big announcement. I'm really excited for next week, Tuesday. Unfortunately, I don't have the thumbnail yet. But what I do want to share with you is that next week I'm going to have David Anzara on the show. So David, if you don't know who David is the Chief Operating Officer for the Center of Risk Analysis in South Africa. And what are we going to talk about? Prescribed assets. So I've had so many messages, people sending me the articles and asking, what do I think? I don't know what I think. I don't think I have enough sort of knowledge and information to really make that or to put out a comment or an opinion on that. So what did I do? I reached out to David. I met David at one of the site sessions early in the year, and they really know what is going on. And also, a lot of people think that prescribed assets are off the table, when in fact it's not. So yeah, I'm going to talk to David next week, Tuesday, 8 a.m. live here on the show. I will send him some more information tomorrow or Thursday. Alrighty, so let's do it. It's then my privilege to welcome my friend to the show, Johan Vosloo. Goeiemôre, good morning. I don't know, guten Tag, is that the way?
Guten Tag, wie geht's dir? Alles gut?
Alles good.
Ja, alles gut.
I'm just going to mirror what you're saying because I've got no idea. Johan, a warm welcome back to the show, and thank you for taking the time. I contacted you to say, listen, why don't we chat about this and just show the audience, what it is that Commspace really is and what it can do. But also I want to share the story and where this started. So just maybe for those people that don't know who Yourhun is yet, just a brief hello and background from you, Yourhun. Who is Yourhun and what is it that you do?
Okay, so what I do is quite easy. I focus my attention on building Commspace, which is a homegrown South African revenue management system for financial advisors. We mostly focus on the independent market, although we take on all sorts. And that's what I do. That's all that our company does. Is 100% our focus. Myself, I'm born and bred Free State boykie from Bethlehem, and you can probably hear it in my accent, because no matter how I say the words in other languages, you can hear the bullshit coming through. There's not much I can do about it. Yeah. Yeah, so born and bred Free State, been all over, lived in Port Elizabeth, Joburg, the States, Canada, a few years in Europe, last few years in Paarl in the Cape, and since 2016 I've been living in Berlin in Germany, pretty much full time, although I do commute a little bit back to South Africa when it's not Corona time. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. So Johan, let's get into the story of Commspace, and it sort of started off in the Free State, right?
I can't hear you now. So I don't know if it's me.
Let's just make sure. Can anybody just in the comments say if you can hear me?
Oh man, hang on. Let's try this again.
Can you hear me, Johan?
Huh.
Just hold.
I'm so
Testing
hoping
1,
it
2.
was you. It's muted yourself. I got. I'll try something else.
Sorry, guys. If anybody can hear me, can you at least just comment? Let's just see the comments. Hear you, hear both of you, so they can hear both of us. Yeah, so guys, give me a second. Let me just send him a message quickly.
Okay, I can hear you now, but
Can you hear me now? Okay,
probably
maybe your ear thing moved or something. I'm not sure.
yeah, but I had to switch. Oh, great, to an external
Okay.
speaker now. I hope there's not an echo now.
No, it's not. No, it's perfect. So
Okay,
good stuff.
well, let me
Guys, sorry
know.
for that. It's how it
No,
goes
that
in the
was
live
totally my
show.
fault. Sorry about that.
All right. Johan, so let's start off with the story. I mean, this started off in the Free State where all good things do. So, how did this come about? Because before this, you had a thriving career, I guess, in software development, and you worked in corporate and enterprise development. I don't know all these weird and wonderful words. But, I mean, that's what you did. You were a software developer, and then, you sort of decided to start Commspace. But what led to that? Where did this all start for you? Ooh, Johan, you muted. Johan, you muted yourself.
There we go.
Yes. Go.
Sorry. Let me try that again. So so I went and studied university, slightly weirdly, and that's a whole other different story how that happened, which I won't go into now. But I went and studied the dual degree in psychology and computer science. And then I went straight into computer science as a programmer, and I've been in programming ever since. And fast forward a few years till 2006. At that time, I had a pretty good career going, as you mentioned, in corporate IT, working for the corporates, the banks, the insurance companies, etc., both here in South Africa and in Europe. But in 2006, my dad was a financial advisor. He started off with Sanlam as a Tide advisor back in the late 80s. Then went independent for a few years, and then finally was one of the early BSG consult franchisees, so to speak. So in 2006, he contacted me because at that time, the PSG consult model was really quite centered around encouraging advisors to partner up, so to speak, with accountants or law practices in their town or their area, and do a kind of a joint approach, provide a joint value offering to clients in terms of advice, accounting, legal advice, financial advice, things like that. So my dad went quite big with this, typical. Still, he was in Bethlehem in the Free State. But my dad always was one for going at everything in big measures and not half-assing anything. So he went and he formed kind of these partnerships and relationships with loads of people all over the northeastern Free State. So eventually, the problem was really just around keeping track of. He was earning commission on product sales, as it was the only thing really back in the day, but he had to kind of share some of that with these people that he was doing referral deals with. And keeping track of this initially on a spreadsheet was easy, but then as it grew and over time, it became more complex and more complex. And as you know, commission remuneration in the insurance world is not a straightforward thing with monthly and annual and ad hoc and increases and clawbacks and everything. So keeping all of this straight over time with a growing number of referrals that he needed to pay out became a big thing. And then as he also started taking out on other advisors into the firm, and they were splitting revenue between themselves, it became a real pain. So he contacted me in 2006 and said, "Son, jy's mos in IT." As is every parent that's got something to do with computers. Jy's mos in IT.
You know most for it.
Exactly. Don't you want to write me an app or a bit of software to help me manage this stuff? And my immediate reaction was, "No, Dad, come on. I've got I'm in corporate IT. Find some local guy there where you are and have him knock you up something, and leave me alone. I'm doing my own thing." But then, you know, I thought about it for a while after that conversation, and I had another few chats to him, and I realized, but actually, there's opportunity, and it's not just an opportunity; it's actually a massive challenge, because I realized my dad isn't unique in this situation. You know, sure, a PSG model and referral deals, that was maybe not the norm, but this notion of a financial advice practice having to manage their revenue, track their revenue, get a good view on what's coming in from the various providers, being able to break it down by product category, by type of income, being able to see how much money they earn per client and down to product level of a client. I thought about this for a while and looked around in the market, because that's what I always do. Actually, first, before I told my dad I'll write him something, I said, no, there must be an existing solution. I'll go look around and find it, and find you something. And I couldn't find something. You know, the things that were there at that time was either, you know, maybe an American thing or entirely not fit for purpose. So I thought about it. I said, you know what, Dad? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll do this. But if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. It's going to be a web application. We're going to build it so it's not just for you, a little thing that sits on a server there in the corner of your office. It's going to be web-based. Cloud wasn't a word back then yet. You know, software as a service wasn't a thing yet. We just talked about web-based applications. It was going to be a web-based application, and I'm going to build it with an advice practice, or even a distributed advice practice, something like a PSG, in mind, so that it can be used by other advisors and even by groups of advisors potentially, and things like that. It's exactly what I did. I started writing the thing, and it took a little while. Finally we got the first version out. My dad started using it in his practice, and eventually more people started using it. And in the early days, it was a real challenge. The biggest challenge was getting just information into the system, because at that time, and still today, our main source of revenue information, you know, the bulk of it is commission statements provided by the providers. But at that time, commission statements were mostly, if you were lucky, you would get a PDF electronically. Loads of advisors still physically mailed paper statements. Some of them scanned paper statements and then faxed it. You know, so here I am in 2006 trying to build, which today is, you know, par for the course, you know, cloud-based app with it, you know, with electronic data as a source, with half of the source data not available electronically. So it was a bit of a leap of faith. But I kind of just knew that, look, this internet thing is you know, by then the internet thing was 10 years old worldwide, but I mean, it was still relatively new in South Africa, especially in the business sphere, and especially in the insurance industry. You know, there wasn't that many internet-based apps around yet. So anyway, fast forward, you know, stuck with it, just went through it. We were forced to develop a you know, really over-engineer what we call our statement mapping engine, which allows us to get those provider commission statements in no matter what format they are. Just about, except PDF. Eventually, we had to give up on PDF. It's just too finicky. But just about everything else, no matter what format it comes in, that format gets mapped, and we suck it into the system, and it's all automatic. And you'll see a little bit of that later when I show you. Yeah, but I mean, then life happened in between. I was married at 2 young kids, and we still wanted to do a bit of a stint in the UK before really settling down and all of that. So there we up and left with 2 young kids. One was, my boy was like 4 months old. And we went and we did a 2.5 year stint at the UK, which, as it turned out, I changed jobs while I was in the UK. And I ended up working for Aviva, then used to be called the old Norwich Union, a very old insurance company. It's over 200 years old in the UK. And I ended up in their enterprise architecture department, which was, you know, really not planned. It's not why I went to the UK. It was not the job that I went to the UK with. But it really opened my eyes as to how technology could be applied if the data flows smoothly, if companies agree on standards, if systems integrated into operate well with each other. It really opened my eyes, because the UK really had that down already in 2010, 2011 when I was there. And I came back from the UK with kind of renewed energy and renewed passion for Commspace. Bearing in mind, I was doing this thing as a side gig all this time. I was still doing I still had my corporate career, my corporate gig going, and it was just me building and trying to kind of roll this out slowly to some other advisors and supporting them. And yeah. And then fast forward another few years till 2015. Finally, I had a nice little client base going. We had a group deal with PSG going, and it was coming way too much for me to handle by myself. And I had to make a decision. I had to say, look, either I can this thing and I focus on my corporate career, or I need to pay some serious attention to this. Way more time than I was spending on it. Get some people in to help, and see if this thing's got legs. And I thought about it for a long time, because you must understand, by that time I've put in 15 years really into building a career in corporate enterprise IT, and I was considering chucking all that away and focusing, starting this little IT startup, which contrary to the Netflix series and the movies, it's not like in South Africa, when you do an IT startup, you walk into $100 million funding, day one with a brain idea, life's roses and Porsches and Ferraris. It's just not like that. So I knew I was going to have to go it alone, go the bootstrap route, really just fund this thing myself until it was, earning enough money to really carry its own weight. And so I did, pulled the plug in 2015 and went for it. Got my first employee in, Sanette. She's still with us today. I'll talk about her a little bit later as well. A month later, I met my business partner, Marta, which you know quite well.
We know
and the rest, as they kind of say, is history, because it turned out it was the best move I ever made. Personally fulfilling, it's the most fulfilling thing I've ever done career-wise and job-wise, was to really focus on building a small business and growing it up and really adding value directly to clients, and getting to interact directly with people, and making that, seeing that direct result of what you do directly in their business and in their lives. It's incredibly fulfilling. And then just professionally, the team is growing. We're sitting on 20 people now, and I'll talk about this also a little bit later. It's really it's what makes all the difference. The software is, I'd like to think good, of course. Required
have to.
But it really, that's only part of the picture. The bigger part of the picture really is the team that's formed around this thing, and it is the secret sauce of our company, is the team that's formed around it. Yeah, and that's, I guess, in a little bit more than a nutshell, how we started and where we are today.
Nice. So there's a couple of questions I want to ask you before we jump into the system itself. I mean, back then when you started this, like building and designing, it was built with, let's just call it a PSG in mind. But it's not to say that is the only, if you're a one-man practice or one-woman practice, you can use it just as effectively. And in fact, I also want to go just one step further, is it's maybe was aimed at IFA in the beginning, but in my experience, even advisors that work for a specific company, a specific product provider, even if you can only advise on one company's products, to manage, track, and know what's happening within your revenue is not going to happen from your commission statements, in my experience. So let's talk about those two things. Like how well does the system fit a small one-man, one-woman business, everything in between, and then also, what if I only deal with one company, so I don't need to worry about this stuff, because maybe in everyone's mind it's about bringing all these different information together and then being able to see what's going on, a big picture. But let's talk about those two things.
Very, very good questions, Francois, and thanks for that, actually, because I just realized, as you were saying, I probably painted this thing now as this big corporate group focused software that that's only works for big companies. Nothing could be further from the truth. Our stated goal, and you can ask anybody in the company, they'll tell you the same thing. In fact, we've got two. We only got two really stated goals in the company. The one is, Piet, he's the financial advisor in Piet Sonder Gat, that little dorp in the Karoo for the last 30 years. with a population of 2,671 people. And when Pete has got Tanisani, she's his receptionist and his PA, and she picks up his dry cleaning, and she takes his kids to school, and she does his books, and she manages his commission, and she does everything. Our stated goal is that we always want to ensure that our software is aimed at Tanisani. She's our target user. If she can be successful on Commspace, then we've won. And the moment we make Commspace, we over-engineer it, we just hoy it with features, we just bastardize the thing into a thing which isn't simple to use anymore and simple to understand, then we've lost. So that was from day one the goal. And in fact, that is still the bulk of our client base today, is 1 to 2 to 3 advisors in a practice, loads of single advisors on their own, some of them with an assistant. We've got several advisors, got nobody, it's just themselves, and they use Commspace. And that's of course that gets us to the other stated goal, which I've alluded to, which is the simplicity and ease of use. This thing, we want to automate the hell out of this thing so that it becomes over time easier and easier and easier to use, so that anybody can use it. It doesn't take a lot of time, not a lot of effort, and all the intelligence, all the hard work and heavy lifting really is baked into the platform, so that it really it's easy to feed it with information, and it's easy to get answers out. So those were really the goals, and today still is the goals, and our client base reflects it. Yes, we've got a couple of big corporate clients, really large clients with hundreds of advisors in groups, but we've got loads of one advisor practices, 2 advisors, 3 advisors together, and in fact our average advisor size per practice is probably still around 3 and 4 advisors together in a group. And it's absolutely aimed to be simple and easy to use. And I'm gonna try and make a car analogy later, which hopefully will drive the point home even a bit more.
Literally. Good stuff. But then let's just quickly then, the last part of the question was about if you just work with one product, so let's say you're tied versus your IFA, why is it still important to manage your revenue and to know what's going on in terms of that? Why, what are you seeing? Because if I'm not mistaken, you do have quite a few tied advisors using your system as well.
Absolutely. So
why are they getting value?
I'll even name drop 1 or 2 of them. So Mariette Tappen from Liberty, she's quite famous in the Liberty circles. I know you know her as well. She's a Commspace user, and for a while there we thought Commspace would probably only make sense for independent financial advisors, because the more different sources of revenue you get, the harder it becomes to kind of keep track of that and figure out what you're getting from who, and collating it all into one source so you can work with it. And the idea and the thought always was, well, if you've got one source of revenue, if it's one company providing all your revenue, then surely it must be simple. Turns out, and this is not a knock on any of the providers, just turns out that because we've went so far in simplifying that information and automatically classifying it, packing it together, visually, I'll show you a little bit in a few minutes, visually displaying information and trends and things like that. Because we've gone so far with it, even tied advisors are finding loads of value. They've got no need for what used to be the primary function of Commspace, which was split income between advisors in a practice. It still is. Loads of people still use us for that, splitting commission between advisors, or splitting and keeping track of referral commission. But we've moved on really, and almost, I would say, almost the bigger value of Commspace today is the what we call the revenue analytics, or the revenue intelligence it provides, and we're finding that even the tied guys are finding so much value just in understanding their revenue from an angle, and a clarity and a depth of a richness of information that they typically don't get from their providers yet. And that's why we're getting more and more tied advisors on the platform as well, which really was surprising to us. But now we kind of understand why, because nobody really focuses on this revenue management part like we do. It's all we do. And it's that focus that allows us to really understand the market, learn from the market, take those lessons that we learn, bring it back into the platform, and everybody benefits from it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's an important point, because I think the value also in a lot of things, if you look at accounting and tax as well, everything is moving away from doing the books, giving you the totals. It's about the analytics. It's about what this data is telling you, insights into your business that you didn't have previously. Update it. As you update the things, you've got the latest insights, and you can make better business decisions around this. So that's just where everything is going. The value is shifting from really just, yes, you need it. It's almost now become what it's always been, but it's a necessity to have your information, and it's good business practice to have your information up to date. However, the value sits in really looking at what the story is that the data is telling you. So that's really where I think the bulk of the value is going to shift to, apart from all the time you save, using something like this. So I don't know, if you want, we can get into the demo. I'm really excited to sort of see. I think the last time I saw the system was in December. So I wanna see, and be reminded of all the weird and wonderful things you do.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna share the screen, Johan, and then it's over to you.
All right, excellent. Right, there we go. So before I dive into it, I said I mentioned I'd use a car analogy. So I'm not actually I am a little bit. Before my dad went to insurance for many years, he was a car salesman. Essentially, he owned a number of car dealerships, Ford and Delta and all of that. But really, growing up with cars, it was, you get used to it. If that's what your dad does, it becomes less exciting over time. Until Mr. Elon Musk launched the Tesla. Man, and what a smackdown that was to motor cars, because at that time, early 2000s, electric cars were boring and they could kind of drive around the block, and then the battery was flat, and they were ugly. They were very unpractical, and they just never really got anywhere until he brought out the Tesla. He had no business. At that point, everybody thought electric cars had no business being sexy. They had no business being good-looking cars. Everybody was just focusing on trying to get the range a little bit better. And Elon just went and said, no, bugger that. We're going to make long-range cars that's good-looking, it's fun to drive, it's exciting to drive, and that's exactly what he did. And that's a little bit of what we think of when we, about Commspace and our mentality of when we approach it. And I did an advice tech conference earlier this year with Louis from the Merwe, and I focused a lot on it during that session about the design mentality we have and that we follow, and the principles we follow when building this product. And on paper, revenue management, commission management is boring. It should be like accounting software. It should be like something that's sitting, some person sitting in the corner sits there and they produce some stuff, and once a quarter somebody looks at it and that's it. And we said, bugger that. We're going to turn that notion on its head, and we're going to make sexy software, fun software to use, simple to use. It makes the people that use it feel productive, and it's an enjoyable experience. And importantly, the stuff that comes out of it, the information that's is useful, and they can. It actually has got an impact, and a meaningful impact on the advice business. So anyway, here's the Commspace, the current landing page for Commspace. We've got some summary level graphs here. We've got some widgety things, some notification messages things. We've got our embedded help system. Our clients know if they need to ask questions or search our help base. They just launch this launcher here, all of that. Navigating around, easy, typical, simple top bar at the top. There's all the commission statements, etc., etc. But let me show you before we go into this stuff. In fact, let me start with something a little bit fun. I did this once before, also during the advice day conference, and people quite liked it. So you and I had a discussion, and I thought, maybe I'll just show it again. It is absolutely, to be clear, it is an experimental feature, and we'll see how far we can take it. If we can't take it far enough, we may never even release it. But it's one of those things where we thought, how can we make it even easier and more intuitive and faster to use the system and get that information that's in the system. So we introduced this little voice command control down here. And as I speak, you should see my words appear in the bar below. So you can see that, right? So as I speak, so you can see this is live, this is not canned. And because it's live and it's not canned and it is experimental, it doesn't always work exactly right yet. But let's have a try. So very quickly. So let's say I'm on the screen, I'm on the statement screen. And I want to find a particular commission statement that we loaded some time ago, but I can't remember exactly which one it was. I know it, I kind of know the date area roughly, and I know that it was a momentum statement. So without the voice stuff, you can always filter in Commspace quite easy, and we've got a rich and powerful filtering system. So now I can already see all my momentum commission statements, and let's now go and find it for a particular date range. I think it was around April. So let's go. We say date from. And we do typical date picker stuff. None of this should be new or revolutionary to people, So everything from the 1st of April, and let's just narrow it down to April until the end of April. So let's do that, end of April, and let's see if that's it. Yeah, that's the one I was after. It's that momentum statement. Now I can go do stuff with it. And that wasn't hard. It wasn't difficult. It was also not a lot of effort to narrow it down. But we thought maybe we can make it easier. So let's see. So firstly, let's do the voice thing and let's try and see if we can make it easier. Search by date 6 months ago. And there you see, it applied the date filter, and whoop, we got the commission statement. I've already momentum statement is the only one there. So let's flip it the other way around. Search by provider is momentum. And there we go. You can see it's filtered on momentum, and I've got all the momentum statements. Now let's see if we can combine the two, because this may seem trivial and obvious, but chaining commands, when you do voice commands to a computer system, having sets of things that should be flow in context is quite a hard thing to do. So we gave ourselves the challenge and see, well, let's see if we can get that right. So let's do that one. Well, this doesn't always work. Let's see if it works.
Let's go.
Search by date 6 months ago and by provider is momentum. Ta-da! And small steps, baby steps. I know it possibly doesn't seem that impressive, but from a computer science and engineering point of view, making this stuff work, having that natural language processing and real time, and also make it quite quick and performant is, it's not entirely trivial. So we're quite proud of this. Just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, if I can just add there, Johan, is like, isn't that the whole aim around technology and software and all of that? Is, it gives the people designing this and building this huge sense of accomplishment and satisfaction and all of it. But from a user's perspective, look, this is simple. This is just like speaking a few words and, well, okay, that couldn't have been hard, But I think that's the thing. So I just want to, I love it. Like, I love things like that, even though there's no lights and a plug involved. It's amazing. And this is where things are going. Voice is going to be the thing. Why? I mean, even if I look at voice notes, sorry, I'm jumping here into your demo, but on WhatsApp, if my wife or anybody else for that matter sent me a voice note, I cringed. I wanted come on, please just send me a text. I don't want to voice note. And now it's like I do it a lot because it saves me so much time. I can say so much more in the same amount of time than what I can type. And I've got very thick fingers, so I do mistype a lot. So I have to go back.
No, absolutely.
Anyway, you can continue, Johan. Sorry.
No, you did right. Absolutely. So, yeah, that's exactly it, Francois. One of my favorite quotes, I guess, of all time is by Arthur C. Clarke. He was a science fiction writer, amongst other things. He also did various other things, but he's probably most famous for writing science fiction. And I always don't get this quote quite right, but it goes something along the lines of, any technology that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. And that's exactly what we try and go for, in Commspace, making things which are complex and complicated and normally quite hard to do, figuring out ways how to package that to so that for the end user it's simple and easy to use. That's we live for that stuff. Well, at least us in the engineering team, we that's a challenge we throw ourselves every day. Is how can we achieve that?
Awesome.
Okay, let's do a little bit more, and one more, just a fun thing, and then I'll show you some of the outputs. We can also use the voice navigation for just navigating around and doing some more searches. And I'll also show you that it's really far from perfect yet. So let's try.
Yes.
Go to clients. So you can see it's navigated to the client section. Let's try and search for a particular client. Search by surname is Burton. And you can see that worked relatively well. We found the guy with the surname Burton. Let's try and search for something else. Search by ID number contains 777. Yep. And that worked as expected. Happy with that. Let's try one last one, and I'll show you where the technology is not that great yet. Search by surname is De Haas. And you see what it heard. It heard the horse, and unfortunately, we don't have any horsey clients in this demo account, so it doesn't always work. Anyway, it's not there quite yet, but we're working hard to get it there, Francois.
Nice.
Show me analytics. And this is where I'll stop playing with the voice control and just show you a little bit of the outputs that we got. So we've got a built-in analytics engine in Commspace Visual Analytics or Visual Business Intelligence. And this is really a lot more than just a bunch of static pictures and graphs, because all of this is entirely interactive. So I can easily say, okay, let's hone in on the last few months, drag the date slider, the whole thing, all the graphs instantly updates to now, they now filter on that. I can hone in on a particular provider. Here quickly, again, everything updates. Now it shows me a single provider. Everything interactive. And this is really powerful for allowing you to visually ask questions of your data that, trying to do the same thing by going through a tabular report with rows and figures of, numbers and text, it's a lot harder. So we thought about, it's a little bit like Tesla autopilot, it's like self-driving. We thought, how can we lift out actual answers and actual actionable information from the revenue data that advisors can use to really understand their business, the nature of their revenue, and look for opportunities, look for problem areas, and really discover it in an easy and intuitive way. And that's why we went big, and we're still going a lot bigger on this visual analytics journey. You can see it's just so fluid and fun to play around with. If I want to just focus on drill down on investments for a moment, I can just click on this slice here and this investment graph, and everything else updates real time, and now I can see my investment stuff. And yes, this is by itself isn't groundbreaking technology. There's loads of BI, off-the-shelf BI solutions out there, ClickView and Tableau and Power BI. The trick is, it's one thing having that technology available. It's an entirely other thing having, putting down that software, managing it, licensing it, maintaining it, feeding it with data, refreshing the data, setting up all these related sets of graphs that work together, all of that. That is, that's the type of stuff that I did in my corporate enterprise IT career. That's the type of stuff that the corporates spend millions and years and loads of people on to try and get right. So we said, bugger that. The average IFA out there, the average financial advisor, the one-man show, Piet en Pits onder gat in the Karoo, he ain't gonna go Power BI with the put up a data lake in a data warehouse and put auto refreshing data more, blah blah. So we take all that complexity. We said, let's get rid of the complexity, package it, build it right into the platform. It's seamless. And the beauty of it, besides being able to get the answers, is you've got to do no additional work to get this data. All that you do, you feed the system with the same revenue information that you always feed it with, and the main source of that is that still the commission statements from advisors, and then also increasingly nowadays where there's a bit of a switch to direct fee for advice. either on retainer basis or ad hoc invoices. We're integrating with the likes of Xero, the online accounting package, and we will look at maybe QuickBooks and Pastel and the likes as well. So we can automatically, whatever your invoicing system is, automatically integrate with that, automatically suck that direct invoicing, that direct revenue, so to speak, that's not going via, coming from a third-party provider, suck that in here as well seamlessly, so that you can get one cohesive view of your entire revenue, no matter what the source is. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have to do anything else to be able to benefit from this. Just load the system with the information. I'll show you one more because we're running out of time a little bit, and then I'll move on. This is our very latest view that we just released like a few days ago, and we're still refining it a little bit, but we thought we'll put it live and let our customers play with it so long and give us feedback. Now, excuse some of the graphs didn't work so well because of Poppy and stuff. We sanitize the data, and it mines things like ID number to determine whether somebody is male or female, for instance. We don't have ID numbers in our demo data for Poppy purposes, so some of this doesn't make sense, but you get the idea. We can break it down by age group. We can show you your revenue by age group. We can show you how many clients, number of clients you've got in each age bracket. So it gives you a very good idea about what is my client, the demographics look like of my client base in terms of numbers, in terms of revenue, in terms of gender. And then we can overlay the things together as well. Again, this one, it seems like this one's only got females because of the fudge data. But you can see, get that breakdown and things like that. And this one down here is very exciting. Again, the demo data doesn't really quite bring it out, but this one is very cool. It breaks down your revenue into percentiles, and it shows you what, as the percentiles increase, how many of your clients make up what percentage of your revenue. So this one, 10% of this practice's revenue, 10% of the clients is responsible for 88% of the practice's revenue. 20% of the clients is responsible for 94% of the revenue, and so on. You can very quickly get to around here where you're very close to 100. And okay, this is dummy data, but we've actually played this through with a number of our clients while we're developing things, and it's amazing to see the differences, and it's an eye opener. When an advisor looks at his practice's revenue through this lens, and he realizes that 20 to 30% of his client base is responsible for 98% of his revenue. The advisors kind of roughly, intuitively know some of this. They know that they've got a few bigger clients that they get a lot of revenue from, and then lots of little ones, But try and figure out this type of information from looking at a set of commission statements from various providers. It is impossible. So this is really where the value of this thing comes in and starts to shine. Talking about let me quickly show you what you need to do as an example. And what I'm going to show you is the hardest thing almost that you have to do to get data into the system, because we've got 3 ways of getting data into the system. Our preferred way, and the one that's still the youngest, but that we're focusing on the most, is to get automated data feeds from either from the providers, where it's commission revenue, or from like I said, from the likes of Xero and whatever the accounting system is in terms of direct invoices. Getting integration, automatically sucking, either getting delivered or sucking that data from those systems into the system, so you don't actually have to do any data capturing in here in terms of revenue information. That's our first and preferred way. The second one is where we don't have that yet. We've got a backup method for that, and it's also automated. Instead of an automated formal data feed, we've got what we call our email feed. So every Commspace client gets an email inbox at Commspace, a client name at Commspace.co.za. Optionally, not everybody wants to use it, but those that want to use it can use it. And then you can just forward commission statements or any sort of revenue that we can kind of recognize, forward those emails to that inbox. And the system is intelligent enough in most cases to figure out, it knows who the client is based on the inbox it's going to. It's intelligent enough in most cases to figure out who the provider is or what type of revenue it is. takes that attachment automatically, it detaches it from the email, automatically sucks it into the system and processes it. So that's completely automatic. And there's a background process that runs and just scans those mailboxes and sucks in the data. And that's completely automatic. It works. It's a really nice backup. It's not quite as robust and as foolproof as the direct, formal data feeds from the providers, for instance, but it works pretty well in most cases. And then the third way, which I'm going to show you now, because it's the only one I can actually easily visually demo, is also the oldest way, and that's by just manually selecting a file that you've saved on your computer and uploading that into the let's do that, and you can maybe see my face while I'm talking. You can see how excited I get.
Yes.
Uploading commission statements into the system. So let's do that. So let's click on this import button. I'm going to search for a provider. Okay, Alan Gray. I'm going to specify optionally a date. I'll just do today's date. All of these fields are optional, but the more information you give it, the more checks the system can apply. But for now, I'm just going to do that. I'll go select a Excel commission statement file that I've saved on my computer, and I'll upload. And now I can carry on. In the background, it's been that's the problem with this one. It's pretty quick. I could have gone on and uploaded more statements, and this thing would go on in the background. But it's already imported it, and it's already given me the result. And you can see here in the table, it's already automatically updated. There's the commission statement I just uploaded. It's found, it tells me a little bit stats about it. It's found 2 line items. That's a statement total, all of that. And you can see the status of the thing is ready. So all I need to do now, the only thing that I now need to do after I've imported a statement is click the ready button, and it's allocated the statement. And because it was the last unallocated statement, we celebrate a little bit with the spaghetti rain. Or the, you know what I mean? And not spaghetti rain. Confetti rain. Spaghetti rain. Confetti rain. Okay. That's it. And Francois, again, this is one of those magic moments. I'm going to just take 1 second just to pause and explain to you what all happened in that one small little interaction. We took a flat file that was saved on our computer. The only thing we told the system about the file, the only thing we told it who the provider is. That's the only thing we told the system about that file. Everything else, the system figured out on its own. It figured out, oh, it's an Excel spreadsheet as opposed to a CSV file or a text delimiter or a tag delimiter or an XML or a PDF or some other thing. It figured out it's an Excel. Then it figured out, okay, it's got so many rows in it. It figured out where are the columns, where are the rows, where's the data. It figured out what's the values in each one. And it read all that data into the system. You can see here's the detail of the statement. There's the 2 statement items it's read. It's figured out, it read the client information, it read the product number, the type of commission it is, the amounts, all that. It also automatically on the way in, because this client and product number already existed on Commspace, it automatically went and linked it to those records in Commspace. So you can see there's links, we can link to that stuff. It automatically classified the type of revenue to kind of standard categories of commission types that we define. Instead of leaving it to our client to try and figure out, so what type of income is this? But I don't know if you ever really looked at a commission statement, but the descriptions on there that the providers provide are in most cases very cryptic and very inconsistent, and they change all the time. Okay, so we take responsibility for mapping that stuff centrally. So we've got a team. All that they do, they take full responsibility for if a statement gets loaded into our system and we fail to automatically classify. They go and look at that thing, see why it didn't import correctly, figure out what it is. Is it a missing? Is it a new commission type that we haven't mapped before? Is it what's the problem? Figure it out. Do the necessary adjustments on the system. Let our client know. Okay, you can load the statement again. They can load again, and it just works. So we take all of that heavy lifting, and when the machine stops and can't do everything by itself, our team takes responsibility for the rest. So our clients can get to just load statements and not worry about it. And we take care of all of the data classification, all of the mapping, getting all that data, and automatically translating all of that into that beautiful visual analytics that you just saw. And that's it. That's half of the magic right there. The fact that is how easy it is to use a system. I just showed you the hardest thing almost that you can do, which is uploading a commission statement. I'll show you one more. And I need to hurry because we only got a few minutes left.
Yes.
Let me show you one more. I'll do a Sanlam statement. I'll do that one. I'll upload it. Same thing. It's processing, detecting the file. Done. Finished. I couldn't even finish my sentence and the thing was gone. It's done the statement. Now in this case, it says not ready. It means there's something is not quite. There's some missing information. It couldn't automatically put it into the ready status, so we need to help it a little bit. So we go click on the not ready, and it tells us what the problem is. It says, okay, there's one statement item that couldn't be linked to a product, so let's go look at it. Here's the statement item, and it couldn't be linked. And if it's like this, 9 times out of 10, it's just because either the client is a new client or it's an existing client, but with a new product, and either the client or the product doesn't exist in the system yet. So let's go and create and add the client and the product. Other systems would now force you to go out of context here, go somewhere else, create the client record, create the product record, then come back and do this. We said, bugger that. Let's keep it inline. Let's keep it easy. Click on not linked. It does a search for the client. It automatically detected what part is the surname, what part are the initials, did a search in our client database. If there was an existing client, it would have appeared here. There is no client called JH Vosloo, so we just go and add a client. It already puts in, pre-fills the information. Now, and this is why I'm going to showcase one of our integrations. This is an integration with one of the well-known insurance-specific CRM systems in South Africa. I'll just go look up, click the lookup button. This is making a real-time web service call. There we go. To, in this case, it was at work. It made a call to at work. This client and product number and ID number details. It found an at work based on the product number match. It returned me the actual details. So I don't have to go retype and go look up and find the client ID number somewhere else. I just select it. It puts it into the system. Job done. Next. It's got enough information on the com statement. It could figure out on its own everything else it needed to know about the product. It just took us straight to the last step, where we now tell the system once per product, what should I do with this revenue information? How should I allocate it? Who must receive it? Must it be split up between people? Must it all go to one person? Who must get the money, essentially? You set up this rule once, and we've got these predefined rules that you do in settings. You select one of them. You can see there's a hint. It found a hint from the commission statement. It said, look, the provider reckons that the responsible partner is what we call the advisor, is Joe Malone. So, okay, it shows client. So we just go find Joe. There we go. Whoops. Joe Malone, select Joe. There we go. Save. Done. That item is linked. The statement is ready to allocate. That's it. You never, ever have to worry about doing that for that client product ever again. Next month, when that com statement comes in from Sanlam and that product appears on it again, you've got nothing to do. It automatically does all the linking, packaging, categorizing, and we're off to the races. Awesome. And that's how easy it is. And then we're running out of time. Let me quickly, very lastly, show you just quickly on the output side, reporting side, because we do have a new feature here, and I'm going to run out of time to tell you some of the exciting stuff that we're doing. So let me try and power through it. This is our reports. You can start off very simply with just selecting a date range and running a report. But I'll just jump straight to showing you some of the sexy stuff. So I'll go to client segmentation. Just make it a little bit longer. And some of these reports, because there's a lot going on, they take a little while. The beauty of Commspace is you can go do other stuff. You don't have to wait for that report to finish generating. Once it's done, it will tell you. It will let you know, okay, report's done. It'll pop up here in this notification. There we go. Report pops up. There's the report. Open up the report. I probably just need to drag this across from my other screen. Let's do it. There we go. And this is an example of where we now use the power of all the years worth of data across many advice practices and hundreds of thousands of clients and products, billions of rands of revenue. Now we can start doing things like this. We can analyze and say, hey, Mr. Advisor, compared to the industry average, or at least to your peers that we've got data for in our system, your revenue is concentrated in the top 10 of your clients. Their revenue is responsible for 82% of your overall revenue. And according to the industry average, you're very high. You're in the danger zone here, compared to your peers. For your peers, an average is around 41 to 50, thereabouts. You're very high. And this could be a risk to you, because if 82% of your revenue comes from just 10 clients and you lose one or two of those clients, well, your business is probably going to take a bit of a knock. So now we can start doing that, not only telling you, giving you warning signs about things you need to look out for, but also start showing you a little bit of views of how you compare to your peers. And then you can break it down, you can filter, you can do all kinds of things. This graph shows you where's my revenue concentrated by age bracket. So you can see that from a client perspective, my 50 to 59-year-old clients is responsible for the most revenue in my company. And the line here is it tells me the number of clients. So I've actually got the most clients that's aged 40 to 49 and the most revenue in the 50 to 59 bracket. And this is still relatively okay. Maybe if it was very different, if you were a relatively young advisor, but you've got most of your revenues from clients aged, let's say 70 to 79, and most of your clients also that, well, you may run into a problem where your clients start retiring, some of them start passing on, and you may want to look at, the demographics of your client base. So we can start lifting out stuff like that, which is really fun. Look, Francois, maybe we're out of time. You've got to let me know.
Yeah, we've got to wrap up.
Lots of stuff. I typically get excited and then I start talking too much. We got lots of things on the way. I'll show you one or two more screenshots, then we leave it. Taking this market comparison analysis. This is stuff still we're busy developing, so I can only show you screenshots, and this is all prone to change and liable to change still. But we're able to now start showing you stuff, percentage new clients for the gain, blah, blah, blah. We can start showing you how you compare to your peers in terms of profitability, in terms of how many clients does a practice your size typically have, what type of revenue do they typically make, do that market comparison all in the platform without you having to do anything. And it's all, we're not violating anybody's privacy. It's all anonymized aggregate data. So we're just getting the trends from it. But we can compare your branch, your specific revenue, to peers, and we peer group people so that a small office gets compared to other small offices. This one is obviously a larger group will get compared to larger groups and stuff like that. So this is some of the stuff where we're going. So exciting things. We really want to go take this visual analytics and provide benefit and keep taking it to the next level. Yeah. And that's it.
Lekker. Johan, that was amazing. Yeah, this is really, I don't know. Obviously I like numbers and I like to know what is going on. So, from that point when I started seeing this, because it was always been a thing like, where do you go and look for as we called it back in the day, a commission management system? And, you find yourself now there's so many different, and you did luckily touch on it because I wanted to ask you about if I do fees or there's other kinds of revenue, or I earn money from referrals. It's not just me paying referral fees. I also earn referral fees. A lot of people would go and partner with a short-term advisor, for example, and then they would earn a recurring revenue from that. And you're able to track all of that in the system, and that's amazing. So great stuff. If you want to know more, go to www.commspace.co.za/VCF. That last part is very important. So go VCF so you all know that you watched him on the show and he can say thanks. So if you want to know more, do that. And just from my side again, thank you very much for joining us, Johan. Bye-bye, donkey. Thank you for taking the time to share all of this. I mean, I literally got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see it on my HD. I'm too white, so there's a whitewash here. But thank you very much. I think it's amazing. Thanks for your time. Keep on doing the great work you're doing, and I look forward to chatting to you soon again. Thank you very much.
Franco, just for me, thank you very much for having me on again. I feel honored and privileged to get some time on your show again. And thanks for the work that you do for the community and the advice community. I don't think people realize how much effort and time and preparation it takes for you to keep doing this on an ongoing and regular basis. And you're doing great work for advisors, but not just for advisors, for solution providers like us in the market to kind of showcase our what we do to support advisors. So thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it.
It's a big pleasure. Thank you very much, Johan. Keep well. And to everybody at Commspace and everybody watching, have a fantastic week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.